Welcome to Module 4, Unit 14, Chapter 2.4, Business Model Canvas for Agricultural Enterprises. Throughout this presentation, we will explore how the widely recognized Business Model Canvas framework can be adapted specifically for agricultural contexts, addressing the unique characteristics and challenges that agricultural businesses face. Let's begin our journey into strategic business model development for agricultural enterprises. Before we dive into the business model canvas itself, it's essential to understand the theoretical foundations that inform our approach to agricultural business model development. Four major theoretical frameworks guide our understanding of how agricultural enterprises create and capture value. First, agricultural systems theory views farms as complex socio-ecological systems. This framework recognizes that agricultural enterprises don't operate in isolation, but rather integrate biological, technological, economic, and social dimensions simultaneously. For instance, a farm's production methods must work within ecological constraints while meeting market requirements and addressing community expectations. This interconnectedness requires business models that account for all these dimensions holistically. Second, the resource-based view emphasizes that competitive advantage derives from resources that are valuable, rare, and difficult to imitate. In agriculture, these resources extend beyond physical assets like land and equipment to include intangible assets such as traditional knowledge passed through generations, unique ecosystem relationships that have developed over decades, and established reputations for quality and reliability. These distinctive resources can provide sustainable competitive advantages that competitors cannot easily replicate. Third, value chain analysis examines the sequence of activities from production to consumption, with particular attention to upstream and downstream linkages in agricultural value chains. This perspective helps agricultural entrepreneurs identify opportunities for vertical integration, strategic partnerships, or specialization within specific chain segments, understanding where value is created and captured along the chain. Finally, institutional theory considers how formal and informal institutions shape agricultural business practices and market access. Formal institutions include agricultural policies, food safety regulations, and environmental standards, while informal institutions encompass cultural norms, consumer expectations, and community relationships. Understanding these institutional forces is crucial for developing viable business models that work within the existing framework while potentially influencing its evolution. The business model canvas consists of 9 interconnected building blocks, and each requires specific adaptation for agricultural contexts. Let me walk you through how we modify each component to address agricultural realities. Customer segments in agriculture are particularly diverse, ranging from processors and retailers to direct consumers and institutional buyers. Unlike many industries with relatively homogeneous customer bases, agricultural enterprises often serve multiple distinct segments simultaneously, each with different requirements and value expectations. Value propositions extend far beyond traditional product focus. Agricultural value propositions encompass service elements like delivery reliability and technical support, relationship values such as producer-consumer connection and community building, and ecological and social contributions including environmental stewardship and cultural heritage preservation. This multidimensional nature of agricultural value requires business models that articulate and deliver value across all these dimensions. Customer relationships in agricultural contexts are influenced by both market transactions and non-market interactions. These include educational relationships where knowledge is transferred, territorial connections that link products to specific places, and risk-sharing arrangements like community-supported agriculture where consumers participate in production uncertainties. Key activities include not only production operations, but also ecosystem management, knowledge development, relationship building, and continuous adaptation to changing conditions. Channels involve both physical distribution systems for perishable products and communication pathways that convey information about production methods and product attributes. Key partnerships extend across supply chain collaborations, knowledge networks, financial relationships, and community connections. Revenue streams include product sales, service offerings, rights-based revenues like land leasing, and various support mechanisms, including subsidies and grants. Key resources encompass physical assets, biological resources like genetic stock and ecological systems, human capabilities, including family labor and specialized knowledge, and social capital manifested in community relationships and reputational assets. Finally, cost structure reflects the distinctive economics of biological production, including significant fixed investments in land and equipment, seasonal operating patterns that create cash flow challenges, climate-related uncertainties that require risk management, and the difficulty of valuing non-market contributions such as family labor and ecosystem services. Understanding these adapted components is essential for developing robust agricultural business models. One of the most distinctive characteristics of agricultural enterprises is their capacity for multidimensional value creation. Unlike many businesses that focus primarily on economic value, agricultural operations simultaneously generate value across four interconnected dimensions. Economic contributions form the traditional core of agricultural value. Agricultural enterprises generate value through food, fiber, and raw material production. These outputs form the backbone of economic activity in both rural and urban areas, providing essential products for human consumption, industrial processing, and international trade. The economic dimension includes direct product sales, employment generation, and contributions to regional economic development. Environmental stewardship represents the ecological value that farms create through their land management practices. Well-managed agricultural lands provide crucial ecosystem services, including carbon sequestration that mitigates climate change, water filtration that protects drinking water supplies, biodiversity conservation that maintains genetic resources and wildlife habitat, and landscape maintenance that preserves scenic and cultural values. These environmental contributions are increasingly recognized and valued by society, creating opportunities for agricultural businesses to capture value from their stewardship activities. Social impact encompasses the broader societal benefits that agricultural enterprises provide. Agriculture supports rural employment, maintaining population in rural areas, and providing livelihood opportunities. It preserves cultural heritage by maintaining traditional practices and landscape features that connect current communities to their history. Agricultural enterprises ensure food security by providing reliable access to nutritious food. These social dimensions strengthen community resilience and well-being, creating value that extends far beyond farm boundaries. Knowledge and innovation represents the intellectual value generated through agricultural practice. The sector continuously maintains and innovates agricultural practices to adapt to changing conditions, whether those changes involve climate shifts, market evolution, or technological advancement. This knowledge creation is vital for future advancements and sustainability, ensuring that agriculture can continue to meet society's needs under changing circumstances. Successful agricultural business models recognize and integrate all four of these value dimensions, creating enterprises that are economically viable, environmentally sustainable, socially beneficial, and intellectually dynamic. The physical characteristics of agricultural products form the foundation of many value propositions. Let's examine the 6 key product attributes that agricultural enterprises can leverage to create distinctive value. Varietal characteristics refer to the genetic heritage of plant and animal products. Heritage and locally adapted varieties offer unique flavors, distinctive characteristics, and cultural significance. For instance, traditional Transylvanian apple varieties grown in Romanian orchards provide flavor profiles and historical connections that modern commercial varieties cannot match. These characteristics enhance both the identity and market appeal of agricultural products, creating differentiation based on genetic uniqueness. Production methods increasingly influence product quality and sustainability. Organic, biodynamic, regenerative, or artisanal approaches, create distinctive products that align with consumer preferences for environmentally friendly and ethical practices. Grass-fed beef from Carpathian mountain pastures, for example, develops flavor profiles and nutritional characteristics distinct from conventionally raised animals, while also providing animal welfare advantages and ecological services that certain customer segments highly value. Nutritional profiles have become increasingly important as consumers become more health conscious. Emphasis on nutrient density, absence of chemical residues, and dietary suitability defines product value for health conscious consumers seeking superior nutritional benefits. Berries grown in specific northern regions may develop exceptionally high antioxidant content linked to particular soil characteristics and climate conditions. Freshness and shelf life balance immediate sensory quality with extended availability. This attribute is crucial for market success, as products must meet consumer expectations for both taste and practicality. Direct marketing farms may emphasize peak freshness with same day harvest, while operations focusing on processing or distant markets prioritize extended shelf life through appropriate varieties and storage technologies. Taste and culinary properties drive consumer satisfaction and repeat purchases. Flavor complexity, texture, and cooking suitability are key to culinary appeal. Romanian vineyards, for instance, may develop value propositions based on distinctive mineral notes imparted by specific soil conditions or complex flavor development enabled by traditional fermentation methods. Seasonal uniqueness creates distinctive value through temporal specificity. Summer fruits associated with festivals, autumn harvest celebrations featuring seasonal abundance, or winter preservation traditions transform seasonal surpluses into year-round delicacies. This seasonal connection creates scarcity value while linking products to cultural traditions and natural cycles. Beyond physical product attributes, agricultural value propositions increasingly incorporate service elements that enhance customer experience and build loyalty. These service components can create significant differentiation even when physical products are similar. Delivery reliability and flexibility ensures consistent and adaptable supply to meet customer timing and quantity needs. This service component is particularly valued by commercial buyers with operational requirements. A vegetable producer supplying restaurants, for example, might develop value propositions centered on consistent weekly deliveries with flexible adjustment options, reliable communication about upcoming availability, and the ability to accommodate special requests for specific varieties or harvest stages. Traceability and transparency provides documentation of origin, production methods, and handling practices to build customer trust. This ensures confidence in the quality and authenticity of agricultural products, addressing growing consumer concerns about food safety, sustainability, and ethical production. Complete product histories, verification of production claims, and documentation of environmental practices create value for discerning customers. Technical support and agronomic advice represents knowledge services that enhance product use and customer success. These services provide valuable insights for optimizing agricultural practices. A seed company, for instance, might combine high-quality seed varieties with customized growing recommendations for different regions, troubleshooting assistance during the growing season, and harvest timing advice based on local conditions. Custom growing arrangements involve tailored production that meets specific buyer requirements effectively. This approach ensures alignment with unique market demands and preferences. A berry farm might contract with a premium yogurt manufacturer to produce specific varieties with optimal processing characteristics, harvested at precise ripeness stages and delivered according to the processor's production schedule. Post-harvest handling encompasses cleaning, grading, packaging, and preservation services that maintain quality and extend shelf life. These processes are crucial for delivering products in optimal condition to consumers. Meticulous hand sorting, customized packaging for different market channels, minimal processing that maintains nutritional integrity, and portion control services add significant value for many customer segments. The nature and quality of relationships between agricultural producers and their customers increasingly constitutes a significant component of agricultural value propositions. These relationship values create emotional and social connections that transcend simple transactions. Producer-consumer connection involves personal interactions that foster trust and authenticity. Direct relationships at farmers markets, farm visits allowing customers to see production firsthand, producer stories accompanying products, and direct communication channels create emotional and social value. These connections help urban consumers reconnect with the sources of their food, building appreciation and loyalty. Community building creates networks and shared identities that enhance loyalty and collective action. Community-supported agriculture programs, food cooperatives, producer-consumer associations, and regional food initiatives strengthen the social fabric of agricultural markets. These communities provide members with a sense of belonging and participation while enabling collective action on shared concerns. Educational opportunities transfer knowledge about products and production, enhancing customer appreciation. Workshops on traditional food preservation techniques, cooking classes featuring seasonal farm products, demonstrations of agricultural practices, and explanations of how environmental conditions influence food quality add value by deepening consumer understanding. This education helps customers appreciate the value and effort behind agricultural goods. Rural-urban linkages bridge urban consumers with rural traditions through agritourism and cultural narratives. These connections address urban disconnection from food production and rural heritage. Agritourism experiences allowing participation in farm activities, regional food festivals celebrating rural cultural heritage, and narratives connecting urban consumption to rural livelihoods, foster appreciation for rural heritage, and strengthen market resilience through deeper customer engagement. Beyond economic and relationship values, agricultural enterprises create significant ecological and social value that increasingly influences customer purchasing decisions and broader societal support for agriculture. Environmental stewardship encompasses practices supporting carbon sequestration, water quality improvement, and biodiversity conservation. These efforts are essential for maintaining ecological balance and combating climate change. Agricultural practices that regenerate soil, protect water resources, and maintain diverse ecosystems create environmental value that benefits society broadly. Customers concerned about climate change and environmental degradation increasingly seek products from farms that demonstrate strong environmental stewardship. Biodiversity conservation involves preservation of genetic diversity in crops and livestock, along with protection of wild species in agricultural landscapes. This ensures resilience against environmental changes and supports overall ecosystem health. Traditional varieties maintained by heritage farms, for instance, preserve genetic resources that may prove crucial for adapting to future climate conditions while offering distinctive flavors and cultural connections valued by certain consumers. Animal welfare practices ensure humane treatment linked to ethical concerns and often to product quality as well. Such practices enhance consumer trust and align with evolving societal values about the ethical treatment of farm animals. Pasture-based systems that allow animals to express natural behaviors create both animal welfare benefits and distinctive product characteristics that certain market segments highly value. Rural employment and livelihood creation provides jobs, fair labor practices, and community vitality. These aspects strengthen rural economies and foster sustainable development. Agricultural enterprises that create quality employment opportunities, provide fair wages, and invest in community development contribute to rural resilience, while potentially accessing market segments that value social sustainability. Cultural heritage preservation maintains traditional practices, regional food cultures, and historical landscapes. This enriches agricultural identity and supports cultural sustainability. Shepherding operations maintaining transhumance practices or artisanal cheese production following traditional methods preserve cultural heritage that connects current communities to their history, creating value for customers seeking authenticity and cultural connection. Effective agricultural value propositions typically integrate multiple value dimensions to create distinctive market positions. Let me illustrate this with an example of a Transylvanian sheep dairy that develops different value propositions for different market segments. For specialty retailers, the dairy creates an integrated value proposition combining product attributes such as artisanal cheeses with distinctive terroir characteristics, service elements like consistent quality and reliable delivery, relationship values including the authentic producer story, and cultural heritage represented by traditional pastoral systems. This multidimensional value enables retailers to differentiate their offerings while justifying premium pricing to their customers. For agritourism visitors, the value proposition centers on experiential elements, participation in traditional cheesemaking processes, direct connection with shepherds, immersion in rural Romanian culture, and understanding of the relationship between landscape stewardship and food quality. This integrated experience creates memorable value that tourists cannot find elsewhere, combining education, cultural immersion, and authentic connection with rural traditions. For export markets, the value proposition emphasizes product reliability through certified organic production with comprehensive traceability, cultural distinctiveness represented by authentic Romanian pastoral traditions, and modern quality assurance ensuring compliance with international food safety standards. This integration makes traditional products accessible to international consumers with contemporary expectations, bridging heritage production methods with modern quality requirements. For environmental programs, the partnership value proposition focuses on ecological services such as maintenance of high nature value grasslands through traditional grazing, biodiversity outcomes, including habitat for threatened species, and cultural landscape preservation by maintaining open meadows with scattered trees. This approach potentially accesses payments for ecosystem services beyond conventional product markets, diversifying revenue streams while supporting conservation objectives. These examples demonstrate how integrating multiple value dimensions creates robust market differentiation strategies. Agricultural businesses serve customer segments at multiple levels within complex value chains. Understanding this multi-level structure is essential for developing appropriate value propositions and relationship strategies. Primary agricultural customers represent the immediate market interface for agricultural products. This category includes processing facilities like slaughterhouses, mills, and canneries that transform raw agricultural products. Wholesalers and aggregators collect products from multiple farms and distribute to retailers. Retail chains and supermarkets sell directly to consumers with specific requirements for consistency and documentation. Farmers market consumers purchase directly from producers, valuing freshness and personal connection. Community supported agriculture subscribers commit to ongoing relationships with farms, sharing both harvest abundance and production risks. Institutional buyers, such as schools and hospitals, require consistent volume with specific nutritional and safety standards. Export markets demand compliance with international standards and certifications. Secondary agricultural customers consume agricultural products after they have passed through supply chain intermediaries. Although not direct transaction partners, their preferences ultimately drive market demand. Final consumers make purchasing decisions based on complex combinations of price, quality, health considerations, and social values. Industrial users employ agricultural products as inputs for non-food products with highly specific technical requirements. Retailers, when purchasing through wholesalers, represent another secondary customer layer with specific merchandising and margin requirements. Tertiary agricultural stakeholders influence purchasing decisions without being direct customers. Certification bodies establish standards and verify compliance, providing assurance marks that distinguish products. Food safety regulators establish mandatory requirements influencing production practices. Consumer advocacy groups shape market expectations through information campaigns and product evaluations. Sustainability rating organizations evaluate environmental and social performance, influencing procurement decisions of major buyers. Understanding this multi-level customer structure helps agricultural enterprises develop appropriate strategies for each segment while recognizing how influence flows through the value chain. Let's examine more closely how agricultural enterprises must understand and serve customers at different levels, each with distinct characteristics and requirements. Direct buyers include processing facilities, wholesalers, and supermarkets, each with specific quality and logistical requirements. These buyers demand tailored solutions to meet their operational needs. A processor might require specific variety characteristics and harvest timing windows. A wholesaler needs consistent grading and efficient handling. A supermarket demands standardized packaging and reliable delivery scheduling. Understanding and meeting these varied requirements is essential for successful commercial relationships. End consumers represent diverse segments, including health conscious buyers seeking nutritional benefits, sustainability oriented consumers concerned about environmental and social impacts, culinary enthusiasts valuing distinctive flavors and cooking properties, and convenience focused buyers prioritizing ease of preparation. Their preferences influence product innovation and market trends throughout the value chain. Even when agricultural producers don't sell directly to these consumers, understanding their preferences is crucial because end consumer demand ultimately drives the entire value chain. Institutional buyers such as schools, hospitals, and corporate cafeterias have specific constraints around volume requirements, safety standards, and budget limitations. These buyers prioritize cost effectiveness and compliance with safety standards while seeking reliable supply. Successfully serving institutional markets often requires coordination among multiple producers to achieve necessary volumes and consistent quality. Export markets require compliance with international standards, relevant certifications, and often cultural adaptations of products or packaging. Success in these markets depends on meeting stringent regulatory requirements while understanding cultural preferences and competitive dynamics in target countries. Export market development typically requires significant investment in quality systems, certifications, and market intelligence, but can provide premium pricing and diversification benefits. The types of relationships agricultural enterprises establish with customer segments significantly influence customer acquisition, retention, and value capture. Let's examine four traditional relationship types adapted for agricultural contexts. Personal assistance works through direct producer consumer interaction, creating authentic connections that communicate value, build trust, and generate loyalty. At a farmer's market, for example, a cheese producer can educate customers about traditional production methods, suggest wine pairings, and explain how aging processes influence flavor development. These personal interactions create relationship value that goes far beyond the transaction itself. Dedicated account management is recommended for institutional or commercial buyers. This approach establishes ongoing relationships with specific contacts who understand the agricultural enterprise's capabilities and limitations. A fruit producer serving hotel chains might designate a team member to maintain regular contact with procurement managers, understand upcoming menu changes, address quality concerns immediately, and plan production to accommodate seasonal demand fluctuations. This dedicated attention builds trust and facilitates problem solving. Communities connect producers and consumers through shared identity, values, or interests related to food and agriculture. A heritage grain project, for instance, might develop a community of artisanal bakers, nutrition conscious consumers, and sustainability advocates who collectively support the revival of traditional wheat varieties. These communities create networks of mutual support that benefit all participants. Co-creation involves collaborative development of products or experiences that integrate producer capabilities with consumer needs. A vineyard might engage enthusiastic customers in experimental blending sessions that inform new wine development, creating products aligned with market preferences while deepening customer investment in the brand. This collaborative approach transforms customers into active participants in product innovation. Beyond traditional relationship types, agricultural enterprises can develop relationship patterns that specifically address the distinctive characteristics of agricultural production and rural contexts. Seasonal engagement patterns align customer interactions with production cycles. This approach ensures that customer relationships are in sync with agricultural timelines. A fruit farm might structure customer relationships around the harvest calendar, With intensive engagement during peak seasons through events, harvest updates, and abundant product availability, transitioning to different relationship modes during dormant periods through educational content, preserved product offerings, or planning for the next season. This rhythm respects natural cycles while maintaining year round connection. Risk sharing arrangements involve consumers participating in production uncertainties, as exemplified by community supported agriculture. This fosters a sense of shared responsibility and deeper connection to the agricultural process. CSA members pay in advance for shares of whatever the season produces, sharing both the abundance of good years and the shortages of challenging seasons. This risk sharing creates financial stability for farms while establishing deeper customer commitment based on mutual support rather than transactional exchange. Educational relationships involve knowledge transfer about products and production that enhances customer appreciation. Such relationships help customers understand the value and effort behind agricultural goods. An orchard might develop relationships through workshops on traditional varieties, pruning demonstrations, fermentation classes for processing surplus fruit, and tastings that highlight distinctiveness between varieties. This education creates informed customers who appreciate quality and are willing to pay appropriately. Territorial connections link products to specific places through geographic and cultural ties, creating authenticity and meaning. These connections strengthen the bond between customers and the agricultural origins of products. A Carpathian mountain cheese producer might develop customer relationships centered on unique alpine pastures, transhumance traditions, and regional culture that influence product characteristics, creating place-based identity that competitors from other regions cannot replicate. Cross-generational relationships span multiple generations of both producers and consumers, creating continuity that supports long-term agricultural stewardship and cultural preservation. A family orchard passed through generations might maintain relationships with customer families who have purchased their fruit for decades, with shared histories creating trust and loyalty that transcend market fluctuations and provide stability through changing market conditions. Digital technologies increasingly enhance agricultural customer relationships, bridging geographical distances and creating new forms of connection and engagement. Virtual farm tours and online engagement bridge geographical distances between urban consumers and rural production, creating visual and interactive connections that build understanding and trust. A sheep dairy in a remote mountain region might use virtual tours to show urban consumers the pastures where animals graze, animal welfare practices being implemented, and traditional processing methods that create distinctive products. These virtual experiences make distant farms accessible to urban audiences. Subscription management platforms facilitate ongoing customer relationships through convenient ordering, payment processing, customization options, and communication tools. A vegetable producer might implement an online subscription platform allowing customers to set preferences, adjust quantities, pause deliveries during vacations, and provide feedback on products. This technology enables efficient management of direct marketing relationships that would be administratively burdensome with manual systems. Traceability apps and QR code systems connect consumers to specific information about product origin, production methods, harvest dates, and producer stories. An apple orchard might implement QR codes on packaging that link to harvest dates, variety information, orchard practices, and recipes specific to each apple type. This technology provides transparency and information that build consumer trust and appreciation. Social media community building creates ongoing dialogue between agricultural producers and customers, facilitating story sharing, seasonal updates, behind the scenes glimpses, and customer feedback. A honey producer might develop a social media presence sharing beekeeping practices, flowering progression throughout seasons, extraction processes, and customer usage ideas. This ongoing communication maintains relationship continuity between purchases and builds communities of engaged customers who become brand advocates. Agricultural enterprises rely on diverse resource categories that interact dynamically to create productive capacity and competitive advantage. Understanding and managing these resources effectively is crucial for business model success. Physical resources include land, buildings, equipment, and infrastructure that provide the tangible foundation for agricultural production. Land represents the fundamental resource with critical dimensions beyond mere acreage, including soil quality, topography, and location. Buildings and infrastructure such as barns, cold storage, and processing facilities support production and handling activities. Equipment and machinery enable efficient operations. Water rights and irrigation systems secure access to critical moisture resources. Intellectual assets encompass proprietary knowledge, brands, geographical indications, and information systems. Proprietary production techniques developed through experience create competitive advantages. Brand recognition and geographical indication status establish quality associations and market access. Databases and information systems manage critical production and market intelligence, enabling informed decision making. Human capital includes family labor and intergenerational knowledge, skilled workers, management capabilities, and entrepreneurial capacities. These elements drive productivity and strategic decision making. Family operations often benefit from embedded experience passed through generations, while skilled workers provide specialized capabilities for quality critical operations. Natural resources provide the ecological foundation for agricultural production. Ecosystem health and biodiversity support critical production functions like pollination and pest control. Soil fertility and structure form the foundation of plant productivity. Landscape features and microclimates create distinctive production conditions that can become sources of competitive advantage. Financial instruments include operating capital, investment funds, risk management tools, grants, and subsidies. These enable growth, stability, and resilience in agricultural enterprises. Operating capital supports day to day operations, while investment capacity enables long term development. Grant eligibility and program access leverage external financial resources to support environmentally beneficial practices or rural development objectives. The activities that agricultural enterprises perform extend beyond conventional business operations to include biological management, ecological stewardship, and knowledge development. Let's examine the four major categories of agricultural activities. Production activities create the fundamental agricultural products. Key activities include soil preparation and improvement, planting and cultivation, livestock breeding and management, irrigation and water management, and post harvest handling and storage. These foundational steps ensure the initial stages of the agricultural value chain are robust and productive. For example, precision planting technology with optimal depth control and spacing creates more uniform crop emergence than conventional methods, generating yield advantages through improved resource use efficiency. Processing activities transform raw agricultural products into more valuable or stable forms. This involves cleaning, grading, sorting, preservation, value addition, packaging, labeling, and quality control. These steps enhance the quality and marketability of agricultural products. Optical sorting technology, for instance, achieves more consistent product presentation than manual methods, potentially accessing premium retail markets while reducing labor costs. Marketing activities connect agricultural products with appropriate customers. Key activities include market research and customer engagement, brand development and communication, channel management and logistics, and pricing strategy and negotiation. These activities ensure products reach appropriate customers efficiently. Comprehensive brand storytelling around traditional varieties, terroir, and family heritage creates stronger customer connections than commodity marketing approaches. Management activities coordinate resources and operations for optimal outcomes. This includes financial planning and record keeping, human resource management, and strategic planning and innovation. Management activities ensure that all other activities work together effectively toward enterprise objectives. Enterprise specific cost tracking and margin analysis by product line, for instance, enables more informed decisions about expansion and diversification than basic financial records. The networks of relationships that agricultural enterprises develop with various stakeholders significantly influence their access to resources, market opportunities, knowledge, and support services. Successful agricultural business models recognize and actively manage these partnership networks. Supply chain collaborations are diverse partnerships that enhance capabilities and market access. Key players include input suppliers who provide seeds, fertilizers, and equipment, processors who transform agricultural products, logistics providers who move products through the value chain, distributors and retailers who connect products with end consumers, and technology and service providers who support operations with specialized capabilities. These partnerships enable agricultural enterprises to access resources, capabilities, and markets they could not efficiently develop independently. Knowledge partnerships connect agricultural enterprises with information, expertise, and innovation sources. Research institutions and universities generate and transfer knowledge through experimental trials and technical studies. Certification bodies and quality assurance organizations establish and verify standards. Technical consultants and specialists provide expert assistance for specific challenges. Such networks connect agricultural enterprises with cutting-edge information and specialized expertise that enhance their competitive capabilities. Financial partnerships connect enterprises with capital and risk management resources. Banks and agricultural lenders provide financing structured around seasonal cash flows. Investors and venture capital provide growth funding, often combined with technical assistance. Insurance providers offer risk management tools that protect against production uncertainties. These partnerships mitigate risks and enable growth that would be difficult to achieve through internal resources alone. Community partnerships connect agricultural enterprises with broader social contexts. Consumer groups and community supported agriculture members create direct relationships and provide stable revenue. Educational institutions and youth programs build agricultural awareness and workforce development. Tourism operators and hospitality businesses create experiential connections with urban audiences. Local governments and development agencies provide institutional support and regional coordination. These partnerships strengthen social license, build market relationships, and contribute to rural community development. As we conclude this module, let's reflect on the key insights about adapting the business model canvas for agricultural contexts. The adapted business model canvas recognizes the unique complexity of agricultural enterprises. It integrates economic, environmental, and social value creation in ways that acknowledge agriculture's multifunctional nature. Unlike many industries focused primarily on financial returns, agricultural business models must address multiple value dimensions simultaneously to achieve sustainable success. Multidimensional value streams extend beyond commodity production to include ecosystem services such as carbon sequestration and biodiversity conservation, along with cultural heritage preservation. Rural livelihoods are also considered as part of this comprehensive approach. Recognizing and capturing value from these diverse streams creates more resilient and sustainable agricultural enterprises. Temporal dynamics in agriculture are addressed through the framework's recognition of seasonal production cycles, long investment horizons for perennial systems, and intergenerational timeframes of land stewardship. This fosters sustainable long-term planning that balances immediate operational needs with multi-generational stewardship responsibilities. Ecological foundations are central to the adapted framework, shifting focus from resource extraction to regeneration. Stewardship of soil, biodiversity, and water systems is emphasized as fundamental to long-term viability. Business models that recognize and enhance these ecological foundations create more resilient operations than those treating natural resources as infinitely substitutable inputs. Territorial embeddedness highlights the importance of place-specific characteristics and local knowledge as sources of competitive advantage and differentiation. Agricultural production remains tied to specific places with unique attributes, creating both constraints and opportunities that shape business model possibilities. Embracing these territorial characteristics rather than fighting against them creates distinctive market positions. Looking ahead, several emerging forces will shape agricultural business model innovation, creating both challenges and opportunities for the sector. Climate adaptation imperatives will require agricultural businesses to develop resilient production systems, appropriate genetic resources, effective water management approaches, and risk distribution mechanisms. Business models that systematically address climate resilience across all components will likely outperform those maintaining status quo approaches as conditions become more volatile and unpredictable. Digital transformation opportunities will enable new approaches to production optimization, supply chain coordination, consumer communication, and value documentation. Business models that effectively integrate digital technologies while maintaining authentic agricultural identities will create competitive advantages through both operational efficiency and market differentiation. The key is using technology to enhance rather than replace the distinctive human and ecological elements of agriculture. Circular economy integration will create opportunities to transform waste streams into valuable inputs and establish regional material cycling systems. Business models that explicitly address circularity principles will likely achieve both cost advantages through reduced input purchases and sustainability positioning valued by environmentally conscious consumers and institutional buyers. Consumer reconnection movements continue generating opportunities for more direct, transparent, and participatory relationships between agricultural producers and food consumers. Business models that facilitate authentic engagement, educational experiences, and shared value creation will access premium market segments while building resilience through customer loyalty that transcends price competition. Ecosystem service monetization will increasingly create revenue opportunities beyond commodity production through carbon sequestration programs, water quality improvement incentives, biodiversity conservation payments, and landscape maintenance support. Business models that systematically develop and document these ecological contributions will access emerging markets for environmental services while potentially diversifying revenue streams and reducing dependence on commodity market volatility. Thank you for your engagement throughout this presentation on the business model canvas for agricultural enterprises. We've explored how this powerful strategic tool can be adapted to address the unique characteristics of agricultural businesses, from multidimensional value creation to complex customer relationships, from diverse resource requirements to critical partnership networks. The adapted business model canvas provides a comprehensive framework for designing coherent strategies that align all business components while respecting the biological, ecological, social, and temporal realities of agricultural production. As you apply these concepts to your own agricultural contexts, remember that successful business models integrate economic viability with environmental sustainability and social responsibility. The future of agriculture depends on enterprises that can navigate complexity while creating value across multiple dimensions. Keep learning, stay innovative, and contribute to building agricultural systems that nourish both people and planet. Thank you, and best wishes for your continued learning journey in agricultural business development.